everybody.
Okay.
I'm going to present my thesis project about participatory resilient adaptation to climate change in mountain regions, the ski industry vulnerability, and the future sustainable development alternatives in the Valmalenco case study. Okay, here you can see the index with my research objective that is how participatory resilient adaptation to climate change in mountain regions can be reached and which are the possible future alternatives of development of alpine valleys. Here we have the main concept that will be addressed during the presentation. Okay, let's start with the main impacts of climate change in mountain areas. Among them, due to the global warming, we have the melting of glaciers and the permafrost, and we have the snow limit race because there are less snowfalls. Then we have the biodiversity and ecosystem loss, and due to drought, we have mountains are suffering of lack of water that impacts on the traditional agricultural system and livestock farming. And then we have the uncontrolled progress of the forest. Okay, I will introduce you the Transit project where it's the project where I did my internship. It's an international project that lasts 3 years and it involves 11 partners all over Europe and is the acronym of Transitions to Sustainable Ski Tourism in the Alps of Tomorrow. The project aims basically to facilitate the adoption of co-constructed transition processes in mountain resorts, and the mountain resorts are understood as ski resorts with the whole territory and the whole economy, we can say. It is based on a participatory and inclusive approach involving local communities, and the main challenge is to promote new models of economic, social, and environmental development in order to support a lively future in the alpine mountain areas with a view to sustainability. The Transit project in Italy focused mainly on 2 living labs. I focused basically on Valmalenco. That is a valley located in the Italian Eastern Alps. It's a branch of Valtellina Valley. It includes the Bernina Massif that is on the border with Switzerland. The resident population at the moment is approximately 5,000 people in 5 municipalities. One of the main characteristics of the area is that there are beautiful landscapes and the nature is very wild. And talking about the line of territorial development undertaken over the years, basically was the investments in the development of the ski area that with the mine sector in the past was the main driving force of the local economy. But today, the ski industry in the ski sector is tackling a crisis and is becoming more and more vulnerable. We can see here the weaknesses and the impacts of the ski industry. Starting from the weaknesses, we know that climate change produces less snow, and the snow is more and more produced at higher altitudes. Then we have operating costs such as the price of energy, for example, for snowmaking production that increased, and especially in this last period. And then we have a strong interest behind, and here we can link this concept of monoculture of skiing that didn't allow to other activities to develop in the mountains because it was basically a monoculture as, for example, in the agricultural sector. Among the impacts, we have the destruction of natural habits and ecosystems. We have an high demand and consumption of water that is withdrawn from the agricultural use and the public use. And in the past, over the years, it caused an unchecked building speculation and development of the mass tourism model. Okay, basically for doing my research, and to map the territory and the local community perception of the territory, I used the following methodology. I use an inclusive and participatory approach, and I produced a stakeholder mapping and analysis. So basically I mapped the actors in the territory, and I divided them in many categories. For example, I don't know, mountain guides, ski teacher, or B&B owners, and institutions. And then I administered to everybody an interview with questions mainly focused on the past and the current development of the valley, the perception about the population, young people, if they are living or if they are staying, and the opportunity that offers the territory, the ski resorts development implementation, their opinion about that, and the future development alternatives and possible climate change adaptation strategies. And finally, I produced SWOT analysis, and together I collected data and analyzed, but I'm still analyzing some of them. The results of the interview, just focusing on the ski sector implementation, were very different and contrasting because it depended a lot on the stakeholders' opinion. As a pro of the ski sector implementation, we have that it is a model that over the years for sure enabled alpine development and contained the population, because it allowed many people to stay there and to have their own activity. But the implementation of the area can contribute to nowadays to a revival of the local economy. But on the other side, based on the opinion that of the stakeholder, we notice that mainly the stakeholders see this sector as a dying dinosaur. Also because it requires a large use of public money, and profits are not reinvested in the territory because it's ski resorts are owned by people that come from abroad or outside. It leaves no space for the development of alternative form of tourists, and we link again with the concept of monoculture. And it is necessary so to think about climate change adaptation strategies rather than continue to invest in the construction of new plants. This produced in the area a socio-environmental conflict that is very well resumed in this reference. Is maybe too long to read, but basically say that to pay the consequence of the ski industry are the local communities, those who have roots in this territory and who trust those who were supposed to guide them towards prosperity. But traveling throughout the Alps, you also discover that mountains dwellers by choice have a taut hide and are capable of getting back up every time many natures present them with a bill. This is why mountain communities are called resilient, because they are used to facing the rigors of time and space. So basically I analyzed the Valmalenco Valley, but this is something that we can see.
The last 2 minutes, Margherita.
Okay, this is something that we can see all over Alps, because for sure the implementation of a ski resort is something that produces a socio-environmental conflict. So now in general, the central issue of the discussion of the development of valleys, of Alpine Valley is should we continue investing in a sector that is now at the limit, going on building new infrastructure, or maybe it's better to recover what is already there, enhancing the territory and natural resources, investing in a more careful and slow tourism. What we need to, basically a lot of, also because of the unsustainability of this sector, what we need to change is that we need a paradigm shift, a development of a participatory resilient adaptation to climate change by the local community, from the local community, and the decentralization and creation of alternative forms of development. What I will work in the next period are basically these 3 points. I will analyze 3 case studies that are positive example of sustainable transitions in the Alps. I will analyze alternative forms of development that do not create a socio-environmental conflict in the area, and understand the replicability of the analyzed sustainable development strategies in other contexts. Thank you.